In this video, we're going to talk about some of the key parameters used in test lab random control, namely the weighting, averages per loop, and degrees of freedom. In the random setup worksheet under advanced, I can go in here and I have my averages per loop and my exponential weighting factor. I'm going to set these parameters to 1, so 1 average per loop, which sounds very fast, and an exponential weighting factor of 1 where things are just averaged in a linear way. And then let's go and actually run a test here. So I have 1 average per loop, weighting factor of 1. And let's see what happens here as we start our test. Wow, that test didn't last very long. With a weighting factor of 1 and averages of 1, everything was outside of the abort limits, and we had a tough time controlling that. Instead, we should do some averaging. So I'm going to go back to the setup worksheet, and under advanced here, let's increase the averages per loop from 1 to 5. Notice the degrees of freedom over here. The higher this number, the less variation in the data over time as it gets averaged. And a degrees of freedom of 2 is very low. Degrees of freedom of 120 would be considered higher. Many specs call out for degrees of freedom of 120. With the averages per loop set to 5, you can now see my degrees of freedom went up to 10. Let's see what the impact is on the test. All right, so I'm going to go to Data Explorer. I'll take a look at the last test that we ran here and drop the results down below for comparison's sake. And now we're doing averages of 5 with a weighting factor of 1. Our degrees of freedom are 10, which is still on the low side. And again, we almost aborted right away. And if I really look at this, there was not a drastic improvement in the variation of the data relative to the target. We're trying to hit the green line with our average. So let's go back to the setup worksheet, and we will go in here and set the weighting factor higher. Let's set it up to 5. Now our degrees of freedom is 90, much, much higher. And let's see what impact that has on the variation relative to our target. So now we have averages per loop of 5, a weighting factor of 5, our degrees of freedom was 90. Hit start here. Looks like we're getting a little less variation and we're closer to our target. Let's see what happens over time here. It seems to be improving. Now everything is below the target level. And that's looking really good. We mentioned that 120 was desirable for the degrees of freedom. So let's try setting that to 120. If I look under advanced, it has now increased the weighting factor to 6.5 to meet that 120. So rather than specifying the averages per loop and the weighting factor, I can specify the degrees of freedom, and then it calculates those parameters as needed. So that's 6.5, averages per loop is 5. Let's see what this looks like. Wow, looks like we've improved drastically by going up to 120 degrees of freedom. We're almost right on target. Where we started, we were really far off of the average with lots of variation in the average data. Thank you, and I hope that helps understand the parameters averages per loop, weighting factor, and degrees of freedom.